Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, why one state wants to pay kids to go to school.
We also talk stealing from others, what to steal, what not to steal, and more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow at RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
An Ohio bill wants to pay children to go to school. And I know what you're thinking. Who's Ohio bill? Actually, this is a bill in the Ohio State House, bipartisan. That's right. Republicans and Democrats on the same page about this. This proposes that some kindergartners, as well as ninth grade students and then high school seniors, would get a certain amount of money just for having high attendance at school. Isaiah, you think this is a good idea?
And what is it incentivizing people going to school?
Yes.
I assume Ohio's having an issue with that?
Evidently, in Ohio, it is an issue getting children to come to school. And it says school attendance and absenteeism is probably the number one issue in education today, according to one of the representatives that authored this bill. It's an absolute crisis that our students aren't in school in the numbers that we need them to be. And so what this bill would encourage students to do, and I guess in the case of kindergartners particularly, their parents as well, is get to at least 90% of school days when school is in session, and then that would earn them the pay. Would you like to know how much you would get paid?
Please.
Kindergartners, their parents would get paid $50 a month or $500 at the end of the year for high attendance.
Nice.
As well as ninth graders. Apparently, first grade through eighth grade, kick rocks.
They're cool.
Yeah.
They got it.
They're showing up.
Yeah.
Then once you get to ninth grade, yet again, parents would get $50 a month or $500 at the end of the year for 90% attendance. And then seniors in high school would get $500 at the end of the year if they hit 90% of classes, 90% of school.
To me, it seems unnecessary.
Well, you must not be looking at the numbers, which they haven't attached here, but are evidently very low.
See, and the thing that's weird about it, too, is the split. Kindergarten.
Yep.
So we're paying the kindergartners $50 a month or $500 at the end of the school year for something that the parents are the ones that totally are in charge of.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
Think about this.
Please.
If you're thinking, what's the least important thing of school to go to? Kindergarten.
That's
so
true.
There's probably a lot of parents that are like, what's the use? But then if they were getting $500 to do it, they think, okay, I guess it's worth it.
It seems as if we're just we're just trying to encourage bad behavior. I don't know. For kindergartners, I'll be one thing if the kids, I get the senior in high school thing.
Yeah.
They don't want to go. And there's probably a lot of them that are 18. They get to choose if they go or not. And so I can see the issue there. They're on the last leg. Mm-hmm. But for kindergartners, I'm don't the parents want their kid to go to school?
That's what I'm thinking.
To get them out of the house? Do you want to pay for a babysitter? Are you staying at home with your kid? What are you doing? And so in my mind, yet again, we're paying parents $50 a month to send their kids to school. That seems unnecessary. That's kind of the whole parent thing. Mm-hmm. Your job as a parent or adult, send your kid to school. Seems like you don't need to be paid to do that.
It is. The kindergarten thing really is. I'm sure that there's some parents maybe that could chime in. They could say, here's why I didn't send my kid to kindergarten. I don't know. I don't know if $50 a month is enough to change that. But to me, it just doesn't make sense. If you got a kindergarten age child, it feels like you'd want to send them so you could have a break.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And obviously this is going to come out of people's tax dollars. That's going to be given to your neighbors because they are sending their kids to school.
Well, you don't want their kids to be dumb.
That's your own fault if your kid's done. I don't know what to tell you. If you're not sending your kid to school, what are you doing? Send him to school. Put him on the bus. Drop him off. I'm not paying you $50 to send your own kid to school. That's yet again part of being a parent.
Oh, hi there.
Worst of the riot.
Crank that up.
Radio U.
Time for some conspiracy theories. We're going to lay out a popular conspiracy theory
Uh-huh.
that's been trending on TikTok. Just so everyone knows, this does not mean that we believe the conspiracy theory. This does not mean we endorse the conspiracy theory.
I'm going to say it's probably unlikely that I do.
It's unlikely that I do as well. But we'll lay it out for you guys. See what you guys think about this one. This one is called the 13-month calendar conspiracy theory, which is all over TikTok right now. One of my friends showed this to me a couple weeks ago, and since then, I think I've been showed it like 4 times by 4 different people.
Okay.
So this one's saying essentially that our calendar should be 13 months long. The reasoning, wouldn't it be more natural for the calendar to follow the cycles of the moon? Obviously, meaning the calendar would have 13 months.
Okay. Yeah, obviously. There's 13 cycles of the moon.
Yeah,
of course. Yes, as we all know.
And they argue that this makes sense because then every month could be 28 days long.
Okay.
And we'll get into why that doesn't actually make sense. They also argue that this makes sense because then it would line up with the moon orbit,
Okay.
28 days long. Also, ladies, menstrual cycles, 28 days long.
Okay.
Pregnancy, 280 days.
10
How many months is that? 10 months?
10 if they're 28 days.
And then you wonder, well, when would the year start? Would it start in January? But the 13-month calendar argues it should start April 1st. Should be the start of the new year.
What does it take me for, a fool?
Because in April, that's when the birds are chirping.
Mm-hmm.
The flowers are blooming. The start of a fresh new
I
year.
see. Well, here in the U.S., yes.
Yeah, for us. This is where our world circles around clearly.
Yeah.
So they say it should start April 1st. And they also argue the reason that April Fool's Day is April 1st is because they pulled one over on us. It's supposed to be the new year.
Of course.
And you might be wondering, why has this never been considered before?
There's a lot of things I'm wondering.
Yeah, we're getting to all of them. This was used for a while, the 13-month calendar, and it was even on the aftermath of World War I. Many delegates from dozens of countries met at a League of Nations conference to create a universal calendar that would unite the world. The 13-month calendar.
Because other countries don't use the same thing, do they? Some of
No.
them, like China.
So each month would start on a Sunday and end on a Saturday. So you never have to ask, for example, what day of the week it was. If it was a Thursday, that would always be the 26th, or if it was the 26th, that would always be a Thursday. And then 28 times 13,
Yeah.
364 days. But they said they would have a one-day world holiday on April 1st. It would be 00. That would be your 365th day.
Oh.
And you might be wondering, is anybody using the 365-day calendar? Or the 13-month calendar right now?
Yeah.
Ethiopia is.
Oh, yeah? How's it going for them?
It is the year 2016 there.
Interesting.
So that is the conspiracy of the 13-month calendar. Do you think we should switch to 13 months?
A lot of it sounds pretty simple, but just the idea of changing a whole calendar.
And then your birthday's on the same day every year. If my birthday's July 14th and it's on a Tuesday.
That's reason enough not to switch it.
Exactly, because then I have a Tuesday birthday for the rest of my life. But many people on TikTok, if you type in the 13-month calendar, it is one of the biggest trending conspiracy theories that that's what we should be on.
Yeah.
The government has pulled one over on us, making it 12 months.
What?
They say it makes no sense.
To what end? What does the government gain?
Their reasoning was something about how our emotions in the different seasons do stuff financially,
so they can
economically.
control us.
Yeah. Typical conspiracy theories. The
Lasers
government,
from space,
they're trying to
stuff like-
control
okay,
us.
got it. Yeah, as always. That's why I wear my tinfoil hat.
Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
What are your feelings on Amazon Alexa?
You know I like an Alexa.
You do?
I do.
Alexa, well, I like it only simply because Alexa devices can play Radio U. That's the only reason. I don't have an Alexa myself because I have other ways to listen to Radio U, but that is, to me, the one positive. But you know the problem with Alexa, at least as Amazon sees it? It doesn't make any money. Think about that.
Well, obviously, Alexa, you had to buy it. It costs money.
Did you have to buy it, or did they give one away to just about everybody any way they could with any qualifying purchase so they could get their speaker in your house?
Well, you know what? There's bonuses to that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what? I did get an Alexa.
Yeah.
And it was a gift. But I'm sure that the person who got it for me, maybe they got it on discount because it's always on sale.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is I bought Amazon Alexa lights to go in my house.
Ooh.
There's a million things you can buy to go with the Alexa.
Uh-huh.
I bought the lights. And so when I walk in my house, I can say, Alexa, living room on. And it turns my living room lights on because my switches are all messed up in my house. So I had to do it that way. But that's a way that Alexa makes money.
Yeah.
Is the accessories.
I'm sure that Alexa, one way or another, increases the avenues that Amazon can make money. But Alexa itself, having an Echo, because they do make them so cheap because they just want you to have them, and then they had to. It took a lot of money to develop the Alexa program and all that, and it doesn't directly make the money. And as more and more people have Amazon Alexas and aren't even buying, it doesn't make a lot of sense actually financially. At least it seems, which is why Amazon soon may ask you to pay for Alexa. But fear not, they're not just going to ask you to pay for the Alexa that you already have. They're going to start charging for that. That'd be ridiculous, wouldn't it?
Would be ridiculous.
Which is why they're working on a new artificial intelligence powered version of Alexa. So, think ChatGPT or Grok on Twitter or your Snapchat AI, but they're rolling that into Alexa. But of course, you're going to have to subscribe for that, and you're going to have to pay. They call it, listen to this, Remarkable Alexa.
Remarkable.
Uh-huh.
I wonder how many meetings they went through to get Remarkable Alexa. Think of all the keywords they had before Remarkable.
Uh-huh. And it's kind of funny to me. I know the answer is it's horrible. It's a dumb name, but it's also kind of cool because it sounds like what they would say in the 50s or whatever. Now, Remarkable Alexa. You can imagine in the 50s voice, Just saying, introducing Remarkable Alexa for, just cut out the things on the back of the comic book and you'll be able to own your very own. I guess that's probably what they're going for. But, they've been testing it out. About 15,000 lucky customers have been able to sample Remarkable Alexa, and according to Business Insider, it has not actually been very functional. It's worse than the Alexa you already have because
they don't listen anyway.
It's less functional. Yeah, it's actually the AI has actually made it more complicated.
See, because it confuses me because I assumed they were making enough money. Obviously, they gave us all these for a discounted price and put them in our home. I thought they were making enough money just stealing our personal information via
That's
Alexa in your home.
Yeah.
They're just taking it from you and then they can just sell it to advertise whenever you talk about something in your living room. And then all of a sudden, everything that Amazon is showing you is different colors of cereal that you really want.
That's exactly what they're showing.
Somebody stop me.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
So I got this question for you. Isaiah, open up the Riot hotline.
877-2-RADIO-U.
The question is, if you were dropped in any random person's house, it could be somebody you know, somebody you don't. It doesn't matter. It's just any person, just the generic person. And your job was take one thing from their house that would inconvenience them the most. Take one thing out of there. Now they're inconvenienced. What would you take?
Oh, you're asking what I would steal?
Sure.
If I had to steal something from someone...
Is it a stealing? It could just be, you could see it as a prank.
Taking sounds better. What would you take from someone? And then when you say, what would you steal from someone? It sounds so much worse.
What would you steal if you were a cat burglar in somebody else's house and your goal wasn't to make the most money or to have the best thing for yourself, it was just to inconvenience them, what would you take?
Do I get in trouble?
No.
How
This
did
is
I break
just
in?
It's just a thought exercise of what would inconvenience you the most if somebody stole it.
There's a lot of good answers to this.
Uh-huh.
The first thing that comes to mind is your keys.
I thought that too. But see, since I've already talked about this, I've thought of some of the foibles for many of the answers. For me, my car keys actually would be very inconvenient because I lost my second key, which was very inconvenient to even lose that, and now I only have one. So if you take my other set of keys, I have no keys.
And you got to think as well, the thing about car keys, easily misplaced.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you take someone's keys, not only are you taking something that's going to inconvenience them, but also in their mind, they're going to think that they lost them.
Yep.
They're not going to go straight to they were stolen. They're going to say, where did I put them? And for me in the morning, I wake up early.
Yeah.
And I don't have time to be messing around trying to find my keys.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I
if
know,
I had to
me
get
and
my
my
backup
wife
pair.
have arguments about this because we have a key bowl. This is where the keys go. They go in the bowl.
Who doesn't put them in the bowl?
Not me. Sounds like my wife.
Well, you need to get your house under control.
Yeah, it does. She understands. Occasionally, the keys don't wind up in the bowl. It causes me a lot of grief in the morning trying to figure it out. Usually, I've got to, and that it does bring up a funny scenario to me, and that is, how long would you have to have no keys before you finally either admit it to yourself, as embarrassing as it is, all right, I'm calling an Uber, or I'm calling out of work today because I can't find my keys.
Uber. Imagine pulling into work. If you're calling an Uber, you just can't go. You're calling off.
You're calling off.
What do you tell your boss, though? I lost my keys.
How's
the sledgehammer going to take that?
You gotta lie.
Oh,
I don't
you
care
gotta lie. You're right.
How anti-lying you are.
Dang.
You gotta lie.
That's in one segment. We've gone over stealing and lying. What a great segment so far.
But there are other answers because most people have another set of keys. So let's think about this. Let's have people text in at 8772 Radio U. I've got one that you're not expecting that I thought would be pretty good. So we'll get to that coming up. What is the one thing you could steal from any stranger's house that would inconvenience them the most?
Nobody does it better. The Riot Radio U.
One random thing from one thing from a random stranger's house with the sole purpose of inconveniencing them the most. What thing would you steal? The first thing that came to many people's minds is car keys, which undoubtedly would be very inconvenient. But the way around that is, what if they have more than one set of car keys, which many people do? Problem solved, at least temporarily. Regina first text in their phone. That would be pretty inconvenient.
Yes, it would.
I thought things that you would quickly and fairly easily replace. I mean, the phone, it is a hassle, but you're not going to, like, after a day or whatever, like, you're getting a new phone. So that's the only reason why, like, I think there's two sides of it. There's, like, the initial inconvenience, and then there's the long term. Like, if something continues to inconvenience you over time, I think that you get a lot of bonus points for that too. Then she and Jay also said TV remotes. What do you think about that?
TV remotes is a good one because then, yet again, you're looking for it. You think that you lost it.
Yeah.
You would never think stolen.
Mm-hmm. But, and I think that it depends on who you're stealing from, because especially probably like older folks, if they lose their remote, they're going to be thrown for a loop.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people now, like, don't you probably use your phone as a remote as much as you use a remote as your remote?
My remote recently broke in my house like a week ago.
Yeah.
And I downloaded a remote app.
Yeah.
And so I do use my phone as the remote now.
Yeah. So
if I stole my grandmother's remote, she would call me and ask how we can fix this.
She'd be done for. Tim says, my girlfriend's daughter's car seat. And it actually,
this sounds like, Tim, have you been thinking about this?
yeah.
It sounds like a recent argument.
You know, it would suck. I can see this, though. One, car seat not in the house, so I don't know if it counts. Two, though.
No, it counts.
From somebody that has a child, if you took the car seat, it's not like they have a backup seat, right? And so where's
she going?
Yeah, the kid is
Where
stuck.
are you going?
You can't even take the kid to the store with you to go get a new car seat. So actually, not a bad answer.
Diabolical
from Tim.
answer
Yeah,
from Tim.
That
It's funny how he said my girlfriend's daughter.
Yeah,
it sounds kind of personal.
Their kid's car seat.
Like a car seat. It sounds personal.
Philip says debit and credit cards or wallets, I
Thief.
guess you could go with. Yeah. Now, see.
Sounds like personal gain, Philip.
And that is inconvenient, but as soon as somebody loses their wallet, like they're not, again,
That is
the
a freak
initial
out, though.
inconvenience sucks, but everybody's probably lost a wallet at some point, and you cancel the cards and you get new ones sent, and it does suck. And then I guess the errand of getting your wallet and stuff replaced, it is pretty inconvenient. D says their coffee. That would, for some people, that would
ruin the morning.
A big problem. We got Mike who says microwave.
Stealing the microwave.
Yeah.
Good luck making any food.
And then Michael says all of their left shoes.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Does that count as one item though? Now
Yeah, it's a left shoe. It's a category.
To bend the
category.
rules a little bit. This is tough. I thought about this one for myself. Dave says glasses. That'd be tough.
For our visually impaired, yes.
Yes, that's right.
My mom loses those on her own. So.
Yeah, that's right. What's your answer, Isaiah? Have you got one?
Oh, I've got a killer answer. My answer is, and you wouldn't know until you need it. I've got two that are like that.
Okay.
One of them I can thank my father for because he worked for many of his years as an electrician.
Uh-huh.
And many people would never notice if I went into their electric box and peeled off all the labels.
Oh, no.
And then when it's time for you the breaker, maybe it isn't working like it should.
Yeah.
You need to flip it. You go in there. What light is which?
Yeah.
Where does the power go?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody knows.
That's
You just start flipping. Your wife's upset.
That's long term, yeah.
You've now turned off the refrigerator.
Mhm.
You've now turned off the living room.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you can't
All
find.
the clocks are on the.
You can't find the
doors.
bedroom. You can't find it because I've taken your labels.
Okay.
The other one,
That's a stretch, but I like it.
plunger. You won't notice it until you need it.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, Becky said toilet.
Yep.
I said
Aggressive.
A lot of people have. Maybe this is showing my privilege. Just feel like a lot of people have multiple toilets in their house.
See, I've just got
And
one.
even if you don't have if you have your toilet stolen, you still have a sink. So,
If you come to my house, stay away from my house.
I also thought of, for me, dresser. Think about that. Think about the dresser getting stolen. Depends what rules we're playing by. If you steal their dresser, maybe you've stolen all their clothes as well. But if we're in a world like this kind of supernatural world where you're stealing one thing, you steal the dresser, but now all their clothes are all over the floor. And they have to go through the hassle of getting a new dresser. Although some people would consider that fun. Hey, excuse to go to IKEA. I thought that would be very annoying. So John also says their water supply.
Hose to a faucet.
Yeah.
Dave has already foiled my plan on the electric box.
What did he do?
All you have to do is intentionally short the one you are trying to find. Problem solved. Well, that's something a man with electric box experience would say.
Actually, it reminds me, I have a picture on my phone of all of my breakers. Just in case somebody does this to me.
Well, then I'll go Tim's route and I'll say my girlfriend's electric box because I know she won't know what to do.
If podcast awards were ever a thing, this show wouldn't win any. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Isaiah, what are you reading in 2024?
Reading.
Yeah, what's your favorite genre of book?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not much of a reader. I'd like to be more of a reader.
We've covered that. I guess, yeah, for you and I, if the question is, what are we most likely to read? The answer is probably nothing.
Yes,
right?
very
Would you put
likely.
the odds on favorite is that we wouldn't read a single book front to back or even crack the cover in 2024.
I didn't read a book in 2023.
Mhm.
I will admit it. My girlfriend's a big reader, and she told me that she has a book that she'd like me to read.
Okay. Is that going to work on you?
She sent it to me,
Uh-huh.
and the book was titled "How to Be a Better Listener."
Is that a sign?
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's where you
Now,
are.
those are the kind of book suggestions I'm getting nowadays.
You guys
How
haven't
to
even been
be-
dating that long.
How to be a better listener
Could be
in
you're
2024.
on the rocks already. Okay, let's do this way then. If you were to read a book for pleasure, your choice in 2024, what genre do you think it would be?
Fantasy. Or sci-fi. One of the two.
Sci-fi, like adventure, like action adventure, sci-fi.
Fantasy, sci-fi. I'm not such an action guy. Action adventure. I'm more fantasy, sci-fi. Sci-fi adventure, I guess.
I have here some research done by one poll that finds what your favorite genre of books says about you. Like there's different personality traits that you're more likely to have if you read different genres. I'm going to put your sci-fi fantasy in the action adventure category. I think they're similar enough, and they didn't have sci-fi fantasy split out. But action adventure, if that's what you like reading, like, I guess Lord of the Rings kind of thing, that means you're more likely to be a generous tipper.
Whoa, wait a minute. That was not what I was expecting.
That's
that
what
came out of left field. A generous tipper.
Yeah, that's you.
It's not even like, I thought you were going to say that I was like a caring individual or like maybe I'm more
No.
likely to take risks.
No, those are other genres.
A generous tipper?
Yeah, because you like reading Harry Potter. Says you're a generous tipper.
Well, we all know that's not true.
We also have, so you're not much of a romance.
I'm not so much into romance, no.
Yeah, things like passion, love, desire.
What's it tell you?
It tells you that you are more likely to daydream the most and worry too much if you're a romance
Well, that
reader.
makes sense. That adds up. Worrying, romance.
Mhm.
I got it.
What about biographies? Would you read a biography?
Would I?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I'll tell you that biographies, if I was going to read a book, that it very well might be biographies because I like learning, like getting a deeper dive on famous
Okay.
historical individuals, political leaders, like old presidents, things of that nature, musicians from the past.
If I were to
They
do a
live
biography,
fascinating lives.
if I were to do like a biography one, it would have to be one, like maybe like more of a documentary serial killer style.
Oh, okay. Well, if you were to read, if biographies were your thing of choice, you are the least likely to have worries for whatever reason.
Because you're a logical thinker.
That could be it. Or you could see that, well, this person overcame this and still managed to serial kill for a long time.
Yeah.
So they overcame their tough upbringing that they always all seem to have. So that I feel like that covers the major ones.
A generous tipper.
Yeah, that's you.
I wonder where the correlation is there. Action adventure and generous tipper. Who got surveyed in this
It's
study?
harder to draw the
Where's the
connect
line?
dots
You
on
know,
that
where's the
one.
line there?
Wasn't that a great Riot clip? While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.